Hi, this is Alan Moore from AdAsia. It's my pleasure this afternoon to talk to Ajit Shivanathan, who is the VP and General Manager of Lenovo.com. And he's in charge of their web strategy and their sales and marketing areas. Ajit, how nice of you to talk to us.
Good afternoon.
You've had 15 years or more working in the web area and with digital. What got you into this area? How did you begin your career?
So, my first job was with Deloitte Consulting in the US. I'd worked previously 4 years in manufacturing in Saudi Arabia and India. So quite different from web. But, it was right in the boom, the dot-com boom time, and every company was looking to make millions of dollars with their dot-com property. So I got one of my clients, I won't name the name, to come and consult for them. And basically the proposition was, tell us if we can make a few $100 million by creating a website and selling off that part of the business. And I obviously evaluated it, and I said, I think you guys are crazy. And at the same time, I got recruited to go work for Gateway. So Gateway Computers is where I actually started, and my early part of the work was focused on e-marketplaces, e-procurement systems, trying to figure out how to connect them to our own catalogs so we could actually sell our products into a broader network of people that were looking to buy our products. So that's how I got started. No staff, no funding, very early days of the dot-com era.
Ajit, at what stage or when did you join the company, and what was it that attracted you about Lenovo?
I joined Lenovo in 2006. That was a year after the IBM acquisition. So we had just kind of concluded the transaction, and I was recruited at the time to really run the B2C business, including setting up a website and all this fun stuff, which we did not have at the time. So in 2006, when I joined, mostly on the insistence of, at the time, Bill Emilio, and the CMO at the time was Deepak Advani. And they clearly had a vision for where they wanted to take the web, and they asked me if I can help them with some of the fundamentals. And that's a very relevant question because I had actually sworn off actually going and working for a hardware company after my 5-6 years with Gateway. But what I found was the executive team was very, very focused on getting the web infrastructure up to snuff for a world-class company. And they committed that user experience was really important. They said that we didn't have a user experience worth anything. So they said, hey, can you come and break down everything, start from scratch, and build something? And that appealed a lot to me because for me it was an opportunity to actually start fresh. And that's how I got convinced to come to North Carolina from San Diego.
Lenovo has been successful worldwide. What do you think it is about this particular brand that has made it successful where other China brands have not been quite so successful?
It was always, when I started in 2006, we had 1 or 2 successful years, and we actually stumbled when the market stumbled in 2008. So in hindsight, it looks like we've been successful for 5 years, but we did have a little bit of a bump when we started. To me, and we get asked this question quite a bit, to me, when I think about this question, 1 or 2 things come to mind. The first one, I think, is a clarity of strategy. We have a very, very well put together and very clear strategy on what we need to do as a company. And right from the beginning, we knew as we were growing our business, how we integrated the IBM brand. It was very clear what we needed to do as a company. And that in some ways is related to how our execution actually goes. And the teams around the world have that clarity of execution. So we are very, very focused on execution. I feel like those are 2 things that are really, really important. And then I would say the fact that we are a global company and we have a global set of, a global workforce with a very, very strong executive team. And we have people from 15 countries in the executive team. And then we've got 40,000 people around the world now helping us kind of be successful. I think those things put together, probably the reason why we have seen the success.
Lenovo recently bought Motorola. Can you tell me a little bit what prompted this move and what they hope to gain by taking over Motorola?
Still early stages, so I'm not even sure how much I should be speaking about that. But I think Motorola, what it does for us is it gives us instant brand credibility in the smartphone business. Clearly, we have a very, very strong presence in China where we are number 2. But I think the Motorola deal brings with it a couple of things. One, expertise. We've got a workforce that's actually very, very good at designing, building products. So they understand, 2/4 of that group of people, mostly engineers, so technical expertise, which is very difficult to build from the ground up organically. Second, I think we get access to about 15,000 patents that Google owns, but we have the ability to use those without having to pay a licensing fee, which is very, very significant. And then we get some of the exclusive patents that we can use for our own technology. So, you really think about this, it gives us a very strong brand presence. It gives us a strong workforce, and it allows us then the use of patents that would have taken us years to kind of build up. So I think at multiple fronts, that's the immediate benefits that, at least from my vantage point, that's what I see.
You're in charge of web strategy for Lenovo. How are you using digital media, and how is it helping you build better customer relationships?
So there are a couple of things that make the web very interesting. One is the most obvious one, which is everybody's on the internet. The second one that over the last 5 years has become really, really significant is the social side of things, where a lot more people are online and they're talking about the brand, they're talking about their personal experiences with the brand. That's interesting. And then the third one that I find that connects everything together is the whole mobile phenomenon. That is, people actually using phones to do pretty much everything. So the way I think about this, it's really a tripod. And there are 3 axes: the web axis, the mobile axis, and the social axis. Now, on the web axis, we really are trying to figure out how to get our customers to have a connected experience. And by connected experience, I mean, how do they actually go between their desktop, their phones, and any other device, a tablet as an example, to really figure out whatever it is that they're trying to do, right? People are researching on the desktop, they end up going to a retail store, pulling up their phone and buying something, or they are consuming content on a tablet and then they think about using that somewhere else. So what you want to do as a brand is to make sure that all of those 3 or 4 touch points, or 5 in the future, they're all seamless and they represent the brand in a consistent manner. The content is cohesive. So from a web standpoint, that's the key thing that I see. It's the connected experience between devices and domains. The second one is really where advertising in general is going. And there is a lot more push towards mobile advertising and digital advertising. So it has particular implications for companies that want to do e-commerce. So if they are trying to sell online, you really have to figure out how to use digital media as a mechanism to drive your e-commerce growth. Now, mostly B2C, but my sense is B2B2C will also start seeing some of those trends. So digital and social then combined drive the advertising dimension. You come to social, here's an opportunity, I think, for brands to truly differentiate themselves by building deeper, meaningful engagement with their customers. Now, everybody's trying to do it, so at some point it's going to get difficult. But I think brands like ours, where we have intense pressure in terms of advertising budgets and other things, I think social provides you an ability to get a disproportionate amount of brand recognition, or the ability to actually build very, very deep and compelling relationship with your customers, sometimes very emotional connections with your customers. So we are truly in the middle of trying to figure out if we can leverage a digital social type of media to drive even our brand level experience. So for the first time, I think we might be trying things that are very different than what we have done in the last 10 years, where we may actually start our significant campaigns from a digital and social standpoint, as opposed to using a traditional format of TV and print advertising and other things.
Perhaps you could give me some idea of the way that you've been using social media.
Sure. The last one, and probably the most recognizable one, was the launch of our Yoga 2 tablet, which is this very sleek tablet that we launched in the United States in October. Actually, we launched it globally, but United States is where I think we had the biggest event. We actually had Ashton Kutcher. I don't know if you know him. He's a movie star. He acted as Steve Jobs. He actually unveiled the product in the YouTube studios in Los Angeles. And it was broadcast live on YouTube, which we then broadcast on Lenovo.com. and then we tracked and amplified that using social media, so Facebook and Twitter and other things. So there was an all digital, all social campaign where we brought in somebody who had about 10 million followers on Twitter to really take our positioning of a particular product and actually launch it in a social and online format. And my sense is that that was probably the first of many, but my sense is that we will continue to leverage similar types of formats for our future brand and our Halo campaigns that we are looking forward to launching.
Lenovo has several research centers spread across the world. Are you trying to follow Google and come up with things like Google Glass or other sort of innovative ideas, or are you using those for other purposes?
So, Google and Lenovo, probably very different companies, very different business models. But I'll tell you what we are doing. We are truly a global company that serves about 160 countries. But there are select places where we have research centers. We have areas of the world where we have created what we call as hubs that create specialized things. As an example, Singapore is a good example where we have a digital hub, a social media hub, and we have a big data hub. So what that means, and we are working with the government of Singapore in setting up these hubs with the intent of trying to take and create global expertise in specific niche areas that then we figure out how we apply around the world. Now, we have research centers and design centers in Yamato, Japan. We have several in China. We have a hub in India. We have a hub in Argentina. So, truly being a global company, we try to figure out how we can be 24/7, which means how do we have operations that actually span the globe, and how do we create and leverage opportunities that are local that give us a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So that's really the story. It's not so much of a comparison with Google, but it's really trying to figure out internally what we need to do to really create expertise around the world that we can leverage.
Ajit, thank you so much for talking to AdAsia.